Hey, what's up y'all? It's Victoria. Welcome back to my channel, Super Geeked, where we talk about all the things I get super geeked about, especially reselling. Today I have for you my November sales recap, where we talk about a culmination of my online sales for the previous month on eBay, Poshmark, Etsy, and Mercari. We're gonna talk about my average sale price, my average cost of goods, notable sales, top selling brands, and of course, my most profitable sales, plus my quickest flips. So if you find these sort of videos interesting to help you with your reselling business, or if you're getting started and want to know what are people picking up and are able to resell online, stick around and we're going to get into all of the logistics. So if you're new here, hi, welcome. I'm Victoria. I have been a reseller since the late 90s. Totally ages me, but I don't mind. I've been an avid collector of mid-century modern and antique since I was about 10 years old, so over 30 years. So I've got a lot of experience in this field, but it wasn't until about 3.5 years ago that I became a full-time reseller. And here on my YouTube channel, I like to share my experience reselling with all of you. So if you're interested and this is a side hustle or maybe as a full-time income, then hopefully these videos will be helpful for you. So today we're gonna start the November sales recap with my most popular brands, my longtime watchers. Hey you guys, thank you guys so much for your support. Are not gonna be surprised by some of these or most of these. So the first is vintage. I am an avid seller of vintage. I love vintage myself, and so I love to pick it up. I think I have a good eye for it, and it continues to be my top selling in the brand category. Now, I mentioned this in my previous recap video, which you guys seem to really like, and that's why we're doing this format again, is that with vintage, most things are going to be listed under vintage as a brand, unless it is something that people would be seeking out now. So Christian Dior or Louis Vuitton, or even non-designer brands like Gunny Sachs, those sort of things. So I'm not going to put vintage as the brand. I'm going to put the actual brand, because modern buyers will know those brands and be searching for those specifically. So second is not a surprise either for my longtime viewers, and that is ModCloth. I'm a big fan of ModCloth. I wear a lot of ModCloth, so I enjoy picking up ModCloth. It's been a great seller for me, and I have, again, we'll put out there in the universe, if you're out thrifting and you find a ModCloth piece and you're not sure about picking it up and you want some more information, my DMs are always open on Instagram. Head on over, follow Super Geeked, and I'm happy to help anytime I can. My local friends know, they text me all the time when they find ModCloth to just check and see if it's something that might be worth picking up. Third is a brand that wouldn't normally be on my list. I'm not a big seller of activewear unless I just happen to find it. And usually it's gonna be this brand. It's Lululemon. I did make a lot of Lululemon sales in November because I sold a bunch of Aviva, which used to be their kids line. Thank goodness I had been given a ton of it during the pandemic and had been sitting in my online stores and on my Poshmark closet and had not sold. I had sold some of it, but not all of it had sold. There were a few pieces. Now I've finally sold all the Aviva stuff. They no longer make the children's line. So a lot of times these cheer moms or gymnastics moms like to have these styles that were specifically made for kids versus regular Lululemon. And also they're gonna get a better deal on it too. So Lululemon was definitely my third most popular brand for November. Then we have two tried and true brands, Free People and Madewell. Usually I'm selling jeans, sometimes Free People dresses, but you can be pretty guaranteed that a lot of it is going to be jeans. So then let's move on to my most profitable sales. Now, disclaimer, these are not necessarily my highest sales. These are gonna be the ones that put the most money in my pocket. So my cost of goods on an item that sold for more may have been higher, and so therefore the return was not as much. So just to start off, my average sale price for the month of November, that means the average price that my items were selling at in the month of November was $53.42. Now I do strive for that $40 to $50 mark. Next year, I'd like to see if I can get it higher. I don't know if that'll happen with all the changes and live selling and all that stuff going on, but we're gonna see. At one point, it had dipped down to $40 to $43 average sale price, so I'm glad we're back up to 53. So $53.42 on average sale price, and then my average cost of goods for the month of November. That means the average price that I purchased these items for from the thrift store or liquidation or estate sales or wherever it came from is going to be $6.15. So that is my average cost of goods for these items. So my first most profitable sale was a Worth dress. I purchased this, it pays to tell people what you do. So a guy that my husband works with at his second job, he's a firefighter, so most firefighters have two jobs because they're only at the firehouse for 24 or 48 hours, depending on where you live. So his second job that he works at, one of the guys said, oh, you know, I know your wife sells clothing. One of the owners of the business, his wife, was cleaning out her closet. And I said, ooh, you know, they have a lot of money. This could be good. Fortunately, it was probably all her stuff pre-marriage. A lot of it was Forever 21 and everything. But what I did was I gave him basically what I would have paid at a thrift store for the items I kept. And so that made my average cost of goods for those items $5. So this was a brand called Worth New York. I don't think that they're made anymore. I'm pretty sure that they're out of business. If they're not, I'll put something on the screen. So it sold for $100. It was new with tags. It was this beautiful velvet dress with rhinestones on it, midi length, and it sold on Poshmark. So I took home $75 after the deduction of any shipping discounts or the platform fees. Another profitable sale also on Poshmark was a ModCloth dress. This was a velvet, what they call wiggle dress, very vintage inspired, and it did sell for $76. I had originally paid $1.73 for this dress, new with tags, from a liquidation store here in Mississippi. If you've seen my channel before, you've heard me talk about this liquidation store, and if you're from the South, it's called Dirt Cheap. Don't pass on Dirt Cheap. Sometimes they get some really good liquidation in. Anyway, I paid $1.73, and after you take out the platform fees and shipping, I made $57.35 on this dress. Okay, so this was an item I did pay up for, but fortunately it sold for enough that I made a good profit. So these were some Sorel boots. I bought 2 pair at the liquidation store, same as Dirt Cheap, except it's their flagship store called Treasure Hunt. I got these for $30. Both pairs, I paid $30 each. So with tax, it was $32.10. They sold for $110. And so I took home $55.90. So this is one of those items that I definitely knew would not be a big risk to pay up for. Sorel does really well. They were brand new, had tags on them, mint condition, just didn't have the box. And so I went ahead and took the risk and bought 2 pair. The other pair is still for sale, but I'm sure they'll sell because they're a very popular wedge style that are really cool, kind of look like moon boots. Okay, so another Poshmark sale. This is one of the ones that is vintage, but would have been listed under the brand category. Well, really could go either way. I may have listed this under vintage, I'm not sure, but it's Pendleton. Now Pendleton was a hot seller about 3 years ago. It's still pretty consistent in some categories. I find the vintage blazers take a little longer to sell, but I love selling vintage blazers, and this one was totally cool. It was a red and green plaid with a velvet collar and velvet trim on the front pockets. Really cool. I picked this up on a road trip I took. So I got this in Richmond, Virginia, and I paid $5.79 for it at a thrift store. It sold for $76. And I took home $53.29. Okay, the next one is gonna be an Etsy sale. I love when vintage sells on Etsy because these people know and are willing to pay up for items that you're gonna get some crazy prices sometimes on Etsy. The only thing is you have to list super consistently to make consistent sales on there, but I still use it using Vendoo to List it and forget it. You pay 20 cents a listing for 3 months, so 60 cents a year to have an item listed. Totally worth it to me when items sell for prices like this. So these are Etnies Aggear. They are vintage boots, and this was one of the vintage ones that I listed under vintage because nobody's really searching for EA boots as much anymore. They used to be really popular in the 80s, but they're really good leather products. And these boots were super cute. In fact, my friend Brittany at Shop Foxborough happened to buy the same ones to resell. They sold for $69.36 on Etsy. I paid $5.80 for them. However, they went to Canada. So the buyer does pay shipping on Etsy, but I tried to do a standard rate on Etsy. And so when you deduct the additional shipping cost, I made $46.23 on these boots. Totally great sale. Still love Etsy, even though I'm not making sales on there every day. Okay, so let's move on to my fastest sales. We're gonna talk about 5 sales that sold super fast for me in the month of November, and the first one sold in under 24 hours. That was these velvet Madewell pants. Now, not all Madewell pants are gonna do this. Not talking about jeans, but pants. However, I have had really good luck with velvet, especially towards the end of the year. People seem to be looking for velvet around the holidays, and these sold super fast on Poshmark for $44. So definitely check comps on those velvet pants when you find them in a good brand, because it may be worth a pickup. Recently, I sold some Zara velvet pants for close to $50 also. So watch out for velvet. The next sale was also on Poshmark and sold in one day, and it was this Free People sweater. Now, comps were not excellent on this sweater, surprisingly, but I thought it was super cute. It was Free People New Romantics. It was an open knit. It had these big, heavy silver buttons on it that had this scroll and floral design on it. It was really cute. Had big pockets on the front, slouchy, comfy, the total kind of sweater you're looking for this time of year. And it did sell for $45, which is a little higher than I expected it to sell for, but totally not complaining, because what a great sale for one day being listed. Okay, another Poshmark sale that sold in one day, and I've sold these pants a lot. They are a Prana convertible pants, so you can wear them as pants or have them as sort of like a capri length. They roll up. Very great for outdoors. I have sold this pair of pants in many colors, usually between $35 and $45. So they sold in one day for $38. Totally awesome sale. Really happy with that. Next up was an item for my own closet, and honestly, I can't remember if I bought this at the liquidation store, if I found it at a thrift store, but it was new at tags and I never wore it. The color just wasn't good for me, and the customer reached out to me on Mercari and asked me a bunch of questions about it before she bought it. Told her it's very comfortable, was super stretchy, fit me great. It's just the color is more of like a muted mustard and just didn't look good on me. I look good in bright yellow, but not really a muted mustard like that. So it did sell on Mercari in 3 days for $42. Can't beat that for something that's been sitting in my closet that I never wore. And I'm sure I picked it up for $5 or $6, either at a thrift store or liquidation. So what an awesome sale. Okay, and the last fast sale that I want to tell you about is on Mercari. Also, it was this cabbie dress. This has been in my death pile for a little bit, so I finally got it listed, and it sold within 6 days on Mercari for $30. Was sort of like a knit, comfy, like shirt dress. It was V-neck and long sleeve. Totally comfy and totally great for the season. So love that. 6-day sale is great for me. All right, now we're going to talk about some notable sales. These are brands I want to tell you about, or items, or just some cool things that sold. First up is a pair of shoes. Since I didn't mention any shoes earlier, I wanted to mention these. This is also a brand I generally do not pick up anymore, and that's Lucky Brand. These were some great leather boots. They were in excellent condition. They were sort of an older style of Lucky Brand, but I thought worth the risk. I did pay $8.28 for them at the thrift store, but like I said, they were almost new, looked like they had hardly been worn. They sold for $60 and my take home was $38. So definitely would pick them up again, but really not picking up anything else Lucky brand. Okay, when I talked about Madewell and Free People earlier, I told you it's generally the jeans, and these were a pair of the curvy style Madewell jeans, which usually do really good. They sold in 90 days on Poshmark for $38. I had paid $6.42 for them at a thrift store. And so I took home $22.26. Now, not my highest Madewell jean sale. Some of them still sell pretty high. The average sale price though on Madewell has definitely taken a dip, so I'm a little more picky about what I'm picking up, but I'm still picking them up because they do still sell. All right, this was a new to me brand, which I was pleasantly surprised about. So when I'm in a thrift store and I see something that, you know, that's made of quality materials, I'm definitely gonna look it up. These were some little leather espadrille flats, but they were leather on the front and back. They said made in Spain. The interior footbed were leather. And so I thought, I gotta look up this brand. It's called Viscata. And Viscata is actually the go-to casual shoe brand for the now Princess of Wales, Catherine. She generally wears the Viscata wedges, but these definitely sold in 26 days, so less than a month, for $45. I had picked them up for $6.64 at the thrift store. They were in great condition. The only issue was a little bit of water staining on the interior footbed of one of the shoes. Just noted it in the listing like I normally would. You know, obviously that's not something people will see when you wear the shoe. So this buyer bought them, loved them, and I made $27.64 on the sale over on Poshmark. I wanted to talk about this next sale because it is a vintage item. So it was listed in under vintage, but it's notable for a couple reasons. Number one, it's just sort of like a ruffle front, billowy sleeved, a little bit of puff on the shoulders, had a ruffle collar, and I did purchase this on Whatnot. I've talked so many times about how I'm not interested in live selling, but I do like to go support my friends. I paid a little more than I would have paid in a thrift store for this, but I wanted to share with you not my profit on the item. That's not what's poignant about this, but the style of shirts that you can pick up in vintage that will get you a nice sale price. And this one, someone purchased for $30. She had asked me some questions. She wanted it for a special event she was going to, I think a poetry reading. And so I had paid my friend Bob over at Bob Buys $10.64 for this item in a bundle of some other stuff I got on Whatnot. Definitely not a place I would source, but again, I'll go support my friends. So I did pick this up. And so I took home $11.64. So definitely got a profit. Shout out to Bob. But yeah, I was glad to have this sale. It was a very cute top. Okay, another notable sale I just wanted to mention, Bowden. Bowden did not make my top 5 this month, and that's okay. But I did sell some Bowden because Bowden is one of my top selling bread and butter brands. This was a knit dress, sold for $52, and I paid $6.50 at the thrift store for it. I made $33.38 on the sale, and will continue to pick up Bowden. I have some in an upcoming haul that you're gonna see, which I'm actually gonna start filming after this video. Can't wait. Next notable sale, I wanted to talk about the style of this. I do not pick up all items in this brand. It's equipment. They are very much known for their silk pieces. I picked this up because it was not silk. However, it looked like a pajama top, and that was really hot selling this fall. You know, we're winter now, so it's not that big of a deal now, but it sold for $40. I paid $7.35, and so I took home $24.65. So style matters, not always just the brand. Brand, style, and material and quality. As long as you have at least 2, I'm gonna generally pick something up. Next up is an eBay sale. It's J. McLaughlin. I don't always pick up this. I also have one of these items. I do have one item from this brand in an upcoming haul. that I'll be filming soon. But I wanted to talk about it. It did take 760 days to sell, way too long. But it sold for $63.15. I paid $6.74 at a thrift store. And so I took home $41.63. So this is one of those items, do you pick it up or do you not pick it up? I mean, it takes the right buyer sometimes to get the price point you want. It was an awesome sale, so I might consider picking it up again. This is an item I probably would not pick up. It took 626 days to sell. It is Citizens of Humanity. I do like to pick up some styles, especially the very newest styles of Citizens of Humanity I'll pick up. This was a very old style. You can tell by the photos where I took the pictures. This is an old one, but it did finally sell on Mercari for $44. I had paid $6.59 for it at the thrift store, and I made $22.44. So good sale, not complaining, but I definitely would not pick up this style of Citizens of Humanity again. Whoops, my camera died. All right, rounding out some notable sales. This one is from Etsy. It is vintage. It was dead stock, which if you don't know what that means, dead stock means that it is new with tags. However, it is a vintage piece. This was from the 90s. So even though it's new with tags, it's not like new modern. It is new, never been worn, but vintage. So again, Etsy coming through with a very profitable vintage sale. This sweater was something I probably wore in the early 90s. It was all over crocheted and had this woven ribbon in between it, little beads, totally late 80s, early 90s. Even still had shoulder pads in it. And it sold for $71. I had paid $6.21 for this, and this item did go overseas, so I took home $36.59. So again, not consistent sales on Etsy, not daily sales, but certainly not gonna take it off my list of platforms because when I do have a sale over there, it's a good one. Last up is an item I don't know if I would pick up again. I do like this brand. It tends to be one of my bread and butters, and that is Everlane. However, I have tried to sell Everlane pants. They do okay, but sit for a little bit. And now I've tried the shoes, so I'm probably gonna be sticking with just Everlane jeans. Both men and women's do really well. These sat for 530 days. I did have them listed kind of high, had some really lowball offers right off the bat. They were brand new, still had the stickers on the bottom, but they ended up selling for $50 on Poshmark. I had paid $8.04 at a thrift store in New Orleans for these. And so I took home $31.96. Grateful for the sale, but probably would not get them again. All right, y'all, so that is the sales I'm sharing with you today from November. I hope you enjoyed this November sales recap. Don't forget, if you are not subscribed, to subscribe over here. I will be putting out a lot more consistent content after the holidays when my kiddos are back in school, but the end of the year, I'm gonna be having a lot of hauls coming out on this channel because I went on an epic thrift trip that I talked about in my last video. I'm probably gonna have to break it up into two parts. It is a thrift with me and a haul. The most epic thrift haul I think I've ever had as a reseller. Totally stoked on it. And then also, I just went to New Orleans last weekend. If you follow me on Instagram, you know that, and had another full cart shopping trip. So lots of bolos, lots of new to me brands, and a lot of bread and butter that you're used to seeing over here. If you're not a big dress seller, you might enjoy watching my videos because I do sell a lot of dresses. A lot of vintage and vintage inspired pieces or kind of quirky. And then I also like to focus on mid-tier designers. So if you're interested in seeing what I'm picking up to resell online, stay tuned for the next videos. Give this video a like and don't forget to hit that bell so you'll know when the new hauls come out for you. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'll see you guys next time. Bye, y'all.